Going to fight this out. Teams that we expect to be around the middle of the table to the... I would say middle table is fair, but both have shown that they have the ability to take it to the top teams. So this will be an interesting one.
They do. I can't help but lean towards QConfirm in this one, though, mainly because Direwolves just really had a bit of a shocker on Cafe last week against Order. I mean, that could always be that Order played pretty well on Cafe, which they definitely did, but I don't know, Direwolves just seemed like there was a lot of areas with this map that they were struggling. And I think it was Vast that said on the desk, you know, QConfirm have always been a fairly decent team on Cafe, if not this being one of their better maps in general. It kind of unlocks some of their aggression. Yeah, I feel like this is not a good veto phase that has happened for Direwolves, but yeah, we'll see how this match ends up playing out.
So you're saying it could go either way, or is it...
Oh, we can't bring Xenox on that much. Could go either way, though.
Yeah, no. This is sure to be an absolute banger. Interesting ban. You know, Thatcher and Flores, two util, util clearing operators, I should say, and both gone for Cafe here. So there's not going to be. I mean, you still got, you know, all your nades and whatnot, but it certainly makes things a little bit more spicy. Jaeger being banned out as well. My goodness, what a ban phase.
I feel like that partners just so well with clearing out the Thatcher and Flores because, you know, as you said, Thatcher, Flores, both really primarily utility clearing operators, and that is just going to make it a lot simpler being able to use more frag grenades with the Jaeger off the board. It means that Wamai is going to be leaned on very heavily. Otherwise, yeah, that utility is going to be a lot easier to clear. So I think that's a fairly good little kind of like companion ban there.
Yeah.
But you're right, you know, like this veto phase is a bit of fun. We have been seeing a lot of Valkyrie through Play Day 1, which we also saw in the first map tonight, but not to be this time.
No, so left in, not going to be utilised so far. Mirror, however, picked by ED. And I will... Oh, Twitch, hello. I know, maybe I'm going crazy, but I definitely haven't cast a game with Twitch yet. Never mind.
Not going to happen.
not going to happen either. But we do see the Valk being 6 picked from the castle. So let's get underway. We're going to go to the top floor, and Producer Boom cannot decide what operator he wants.
Settles on the Ashe though, got to go for that comfort. Still seems to be a comfort for a lot of players to play that Ashe. You know, she can be a little bit helpful from here and there with those breaching charges, and of course, R4C, also a very comfortable gun to use. But I want to go to this Valkyrie pick. It's pretty hard to not choose Valkyrie when she's available, in particular on Cafe. Just so many camera spots that are incredibly helpful. And I think you don't want to shy away from being a little aggressive on Cafe. It's certainly a map that warrants that a little bit, particularly with getting some aggressive cameras outside to help deal with attacker pathings. Just knowing in general where your opponents are coming from is just very helpful on Cafe.
Can't wait to see the impact that it will have being left in. Not really going to see it all that often, let's be completely honest. So while you can, you will. Souffle chucking it just out onto the eastern side, and that will give them all of the information on anyone rappelling outside of the cocktail bars. So moving forward now, it's probably... I don't really... I'll be honest, I genuinely am still stuck as to who to go with here. I think I ended up picking Direwolves in the end, but QConfirm just had such a good stage in Stage 2 to begin with anyway. The first 4 play days were unbelievable from them, and then it kind of diminished as things went on. So we'll just wait and see. Wait and see how this one pans out, but certainly this first half will be quite telling.
Yeah, it will be. And beautiful little camera here. It has netted Hajime to be absolutely annihilated, in fact.
Yikes.
That's really good stuff here. Souffle on the call-outs and Pika to secure that kill. And that's going to be that Zofia. So we were talking about, you know, the utility clear being affected by no Flores and no Thatcher. Well, also having no Zofia is always going to affect that as well.
Bit by bit, the clear from top down. Obviously, you want to make sure that you can kind of access through red there. Producer still quite unsure on where where the information was being thrown from. Souffle, surely not. That's, I was going to say, that is completely ambitious, but instead, decides better of it. A lot of players on cams there for a second for Direwolves. 3 looking to get that intel. For the remaining members, Dark somehow found himself in an incredible position and picks up a double kill. And unattended to. What on earth?
has at least been refragged at this point, and just kind of keeps going, this little train of frags here. Producer Boon's picked himself one as well, leaves it all on the shoulders of Pika and ED, and Pika is going to get a beautiful flank on the white stairs as ED combines for another. It's all on the shoulders of Dark now in this 1v2 situation. He's tunneling towards this player in white, and it is Pika who stands up and gets round one for Direwolves.
Again, like my thoughts on the match, I still didn't even know where I was sitting with that one. You know, I just... This is a match that is going to unravel round by round, and I'm sure there's going to be some unintentional plays, as well as some pretty dirty things. Dark, for one, I mean, the fact that he's able to pick up a 2K entering from piano when you've got Direwolves with so much information just seems absolutely absurd. However, Direwolves still do well to hold strong and hold their own in that round. Moving forward, we are not going to see the Valk taken for Reading and Fireplace, which I find even more curious, right? We saw the castle being swapped out last from Souffle, who then opted in for the Valk. But you'd imagine with, you know, how important that top floor is for Reading and Fire, that you would expect that the Valk would be critical in this position.
Yeah, but I also don't mind the lineup that they've got. You know, like a lot of these operators also very valuable for this kind of holds. Having the castle in particular, always going to be a good thing, but bringing the Aruni in the mirror, I think, for trying to hold this top floor position will also be quite helpful. You know, you're going to be able to play behind those mirrors and get intel, and then the Aruni Surya gates to really just force the attackers to have to use projectiles to be able to push past them. Given the fact that they don't have potentially a whole lot of those, they're going to have to use stuns or, you know, burn an Ash breaching charge or even some X-Kairos to do so. And, you know, that's just all kind of counts down against that utility that the attackers can use.
I always find the approach on Cafe is so much slower than any other map that I cast. Maybe it's just my my brain, but there is so much work that you have to get done in the earlier parts of this round. You really cannot afford to approach with too much haste. There's just so many opportunities for roams, for cheeky little positions, especially if you're looking at a team like Direwolves that will take advantage of that. Think about players like Souffle and Pika, who are absolute madmen when it comes down to it. That really can be one of the things that, you know, can crumble a team's attack. So even more so here for QConfirm, just treading with caution is going to be of the utmost value, but Ray now already feeling a bit of pressure and is actually backed away into the back store.
Yeah, definitely under a lot of pressure. Now this is something that I would hope that Direwolves have kind of learnt a little bit better, and that is holding this piano control. They were not quite good at taking it themselves last week, and right here they've found that opening pick. Dark losing out on that occasion. So that's the Yana off the board. And look, that's a pretty big pick, you know, frag grenades and the Gemini replicator for intel. Fairly significant loss in the first half of the round.
Oh, ED, that might be the perfect C4. Nope, just gets away in time. So unfortunately won't be able to punish anything there. Ray may well be a critical player at this point. Look at the time already. We're down to the minute mark. Jackie Wu finds himself another. And QConfirm are kind of left scrambling at this point. Like, what can you achieve with a minute left on the clock?
Yeah, it's really going to be tough because they just haven't been able to do anything up to this point. They've lost two players. It's just, I wouldn't say an unwinnable position. It's certainly, you know, stranger things have happened, but this is a very tough position to be brought back here from QConfirm. Direwolves just absolutely stepping it up right here on this defense. They're looking to go 2-0, but Spacehead's found an opening pick, and maybe this is the opening needed for QConfirm to try and claw this round back.
Surely that's not enough for them to work off. You know that they can do this. Spacehead, one of the players that you put him in nearly any position, and he will go off. Direwolves just treading with a little bit of caution here. So in comes the impact that will force Hajime out. And God, Jackie Wu has played that to absolute perfection. Direwolves storm away with round 2 as well.
That was quite dominant, honestly. Again, I never like to write off a team when there's still potential, but honestly, that was very lost after that 2-minute mark for QConfirm. They just didn't really, didn't get anything happening on that top 4 clear. They really failed immensely on that attack because QConfirm just sat, not QConfirm, Direwolves sat pretty in their positions behind mirrors, all the way over on Cocktail, you name it. Like, they still had every position possible on that top floor. So QConfirm just had to really rush site, try to make something out of nothing, and obviously nothing is what they got.
It's kind of what they've been given, isn't it? It feels like Direwolves off to a rip-roarer of a start, now down onto the first floor, and I'm always curious to see how teams approach this, whether we see the extension onto the third floor as a roam. You look at the kind of lineup and you would you'd assume without the mute, without the Mozzie, without the Vigil, that's not really going to be viable, at least for longer than, 30 seconds burning down the clock for QConfirm. But it's still very much a thing that QConfirm are going to have to be careful of. However, that Echo, I just have so many flashbacks of, Yokai's failing to hit the mark on those last couple of seconds. Like, I've got flashbacks that just terrify me, but I'm sure Souffle will deal with that as intended.
We'll wait and see, but this is, I think, a scary moment here for QConfirm. If they're to go down 3-0, it's starting to be a bit of a difficult lead to chase down. And I know in the past Cafe has definitely been defender-sided, but I've been looking at the stats for Stage 2. We didn't have a whole lot of Cafe play. Only two maps in the regular season of Cafe were played. And across those two, only 18 rounds. So generally quite, stompy affairs. But it actually was more attacker-sided with only a 44% defense win rate. So at least in APAC South, feels like it normally favors the attackers, and in this instance, Producer Boom has actually found himself the opening kill. That's certainly going to help.
That it is. And I guess you're kind of fortunate in the sense that it's not Jackie who can still put down the magnets, it's not Souffle that will have an incredible impact at the end of the round, nor will it be ED. So, in terms of operators that you lose for Direwolves, that's probably that's bang on the money as to who you'd want to, although I'm sure Ray is kicking himself right now. QConfirm taking that top floor control can now start to push Direwolves down. I don't believe we really saw too much presence from them on the second floor, unless my eyes are deceiving me. No, it's pretty much nothing. So they're all down, bunkering and holding quite firmly. You can see Pika's extended into VIP. But relative to that, I think ED may be playing around Bakery just a little bit further to at the very least, make some contact and fall away. So far, though, QConfirm are they're having the pick of the lot on that second floor.
Yeah, this is much better in terms of map control coming out of QConfirm, and on top of the fact, obviously, they've got the man advantage, but at least now they're actually progressing through this attack. They've got that map control, they're getting this vertical control as well. Really setting themselves up for an actual chance here to close out this attack. Now, it's really important that throughout the next minute, they don't let this slip. You certainly don't want to be sleeping on Direwolves. They will try and do some cheeky little plays. We've seen it before.
Surely that made... I mean, hey, there's a world that bounces over the top and catches him off, but it's not going to happen. 45 seconds. Direwolves slowly but surely just kind of finding themselves, I would say, in a pretty decent position, all things considered. QConfirm are starting to push things, push the envelope, I should say, but is 35 seconds enough here?
I think it's going to be tough, but this is going to be a really crucial gunfight, and they have just come out on top of that one, Manic. 5 versus 2. This is going to be a very difficult position for Direwolves to salvage.
Yeah, nigh impossible. It's Souffle, who could possibly do it, and ED, he's had his moments, that's for damn sure, but so separated, so isolated. Who was that was sitting in Bakery? He's missed the shot, but he's been able to correct it. Oh my god, it could have been a second ED had he found the kill in the dark. Could have been on like Donkey Kong, but it fades out into the mist. And there we go, QConfirm get one on the board.
Yeah, much better from them in general that entire round. I mean, it all started with Producer Boom getting that opening pick, but what you like to see there is just that the early progression of that attack was as it should be. They got that map control, they got vertical control, they pushed Direwolves into really just deep, tricky positions to actually make a play from, and they capitalized. They really are, a well-rounded execute in the end to give them that 5 versus 2 position. Yeah, really good to see from QConfirm bouncing back.
crazy what 1 or 2 kills can just completely do to a round. You know, that player in VIP, they were up against someone that was concussed. I cannot remember who was in VIP or who was pushing VIP, but the fact that you find that kill, I mean, that's it just nullifies that entire side of the map all within 5 seconds. It just looks so damn good for QConfirm, and it can flip on a dime. That's all it takes here. And in a game where, specifically in that round, you know, a lot of ones really came down to it for QConfirm. Just like individual gunfights really making a big difference. So I got something in my throat, Raven. You're gonna have to talk.
Yeah, man, no worries. Yeah, like, it was just a very different round in general from QConfirm compared to the first two, but like to see it. I think they really just have to dig deep and figure out what went wrong on this top floor, because it was very much a Direwolves round, and yeah, there's just some really big procedural things that need to be fixed here for QConfirm on these attacks. Are you good now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Excellent.
I'm back. I had a tickle in the throat. We're all good now. That's the beauty of muting a mic, isn't it? To have the old cough spam. But once again, we'll see the approach from QConfirm, and so, I mean, there's only so many ways you can actually cut a cat. Cut a cat, skin a cat. My goodness, don't go cutting cats, skin a cat.
Oh,
goodness me, that's not very friendly of me. But there are only so many ways that you can clear on Cafe, especially on that top floor, and it always comes down to very effective droning across in Red and Cigar, because so often we see, you know, there are so many places that you can kind of hide around in Cigar, around on the balcony, that can just cause so much mayhem. But for right now, it looks like a fair bit of the attention is going to be put toward displacing this mirror. That was not a bad C4 at all.
Yeah, that was very close. But here we go, this frag grenade. I thought it was actually going to net something, but no, really well played here from the smoke player, mute player. Oh my gosh, I couldn't quite recognize the outfit. Jackie Wu playing in and out of bathroom and backstore. He has danced around a couple of frag grenades here, still trying to hold the position, and then he gets the pick on Dark. Just an absolute mad lad, and this is already going bad for QConfirm.
That it is. It's a site that you expect the defense to certainly feel comfortable on. You know, after the many moons that we've seen this played for, you really do expect teams to be bunkered down in here. Jackie Wu has just been pivotal in the back store. Finally, he will be punished, but the thing is, they don't know. They can't have the information on him that he's down, so he can just burn through time as they think it's still a 4v5.
Yeah, it's pretty big, because it could really take a lot of time here, and they still have so much info. You know, Souffle's camera in the middle of piano at least hadn't been spotted last we saw through the obs. Pika lurking below as well could have a certain impact. Jackie, we finally finished off here, Manic at least, so they do know 4 versus 4. But time is starting to really tick away here. They have some really decent map control, potentially something they can get an execute out of. And with 30 seconds, it's time for QConfirm to make a move.
Bases are loaded here for QConfirm. They're just looking for the home run. Unfortunately, Producer Boom goes down. Oh, they've crumbled. They've absolutely crumbled at the last hurdle. Direwolves snatch back the round after so much work had been done from QConfirm. And boy, are they looking good.
They are. That was just there for QConfirm, right? The setup wasn't bad, but Direwolves, I guess, Pika on the flank, and just, I don't know, it really just all came from everywhere. QConfirm just folded completely, and this is looking very tough. You know, if QConfirm can't manage to salvage another round win just outside of Kitchen, they're going to be looking at it, you know, at least a 4-2 half at best, and I don't know, it's never great. It's manageable, of course, but it's just, it feels like Direwolves are firmly in control of this match right here.
Guess it is looking quite dire, there's no doubt about it. I can confirm that. Things just get worse from here if they can't manage to string these last couple of rounds together. Definitely do not want to be looking. I mean, sure, 4-2 half would not be all that bad, all things considered. You know, we know how comfortable teams can be on the defense of Cafe, but I've always found Direwolves to just be such a dangerous team. You know, back when we looked at them as 7th Heaven in Stage 1 and Stage 2, you really never knew how much damage they could inflict. You knew, okay, you knew, but you just didn't know what they were going to do, what they were going to show on any given day. And right now we are seeing, I would say, a bit of a clinic here on the defense. And I am really, really appreciating the operator lineup that we've seen from Direwolves, the adaptation of the Jaeger ban, and of course things like, you know, we'll wait and see how they adapt to the Thatcher and the Flores with the Roteros. You know, that's a fair bit gone, but it's certainly right now looking very good for the Direwolves.
Yeah, it is, and this was a round in particular where QConfirm's struggles were really shown the most to us. They really failed to get, I would say, almost any map control, because they never really got piano or anything of top floor. It just all crumbled. So this is going to be a really massive sign. You know what is another massive sign? I feel like Spacehead has almost every single time missed his first hit on that patch. That's got to be bad mojo.
I feel like it's that's a very digital thing to do.
Oh.
Hey, I've got to take a jab anytime I can. Anytime I've got an opportunity to, I'm going to. It's there for the taking, you know. But nevertheless, QConfirm, I'd say this is with a bit more haste this time around. 2 minutes in, they're starting to get that top floor control, or at the very least looking to take from west to east, but Cocktail's going to be so hard to approach. The bars are incredibly hard to displace those members, especially when you look at the utility that they've got to play around Raven. It's going to be difficult.
Definitely is, and I can appreciate that QConfirm are trying to at least put some pressure from the windows here, so it's going to kind of segregate how the defenders really focus their energy. But oh, that is such an aggressive swing from Jackie Wu. He comes out on top as well. Absolutely unbelievable stuff here from Direwolves. Just upping this aggression.
Oh my god, they just continue to make matters worse. They are really playing to a high level. And this would be so concerning for QConfirm. Hang on, why are they are so tunnel vision there. They forget that Ray is behind them every time they turn. It's Jackie Wu or it's Ray. Producer Boom has so much on his shoulders, and ED puts a stop to it right away. No shenanigans. And no hope. Direwolves are stamping out the fire before it even becomes a flame.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts. Not gonna lie, that just absolutely went to tatters in an instant. And I don't know, I was a little bit gobsmacked when I'm still confused about what just happened. It was Ray on the Aruni on the flank. Like, he got that first pick in backstore, but then continued to go through Cigar, and it just looked like QConfirm had no idea. He really could have, like, got a 3k out of it. He got 2, but, like, at the end of the day, the damage was done. I don't know whether there's just some communication issues on QConfirm right now. It really could be what that's pointing towards. But yeah, that just really blew me away.
Yeah, this is a tactical timeout. I just have to imagine it's QConfirm. I didn't catch that from the old producer. Now, not Boom, I mean my producer, the show's producer. Absolute legend he is. But QConfirm need this time. I could not imagine seeing a 5-1 half go any other way than a clean stomp for Direwolves. I mean, they would have to make some massive mistakes on their attack to even allow QConfirm back into this game. But stranger things have happened. So, you know, this is the, I'm not going to say it's the perfect time. I would have said maybe last round could have been better for QConfirm, but if you're ever going to call a timeout, this is it. You don't want to go 5-1 without having a response.
Yeah, I think it is a good timeout, and I guess it's another indicator that maybe there's something going wrong more so on the communication side or in the behind the scenes that we don't really get insight to. For the, you know, that flank that went off without really any communication or follow-up, it just feels like there are some really key things falling apart for QConfirm kind of outside of the actual game, you know, like general basic teamwork, communication, and just working as a team. It's not really there. Direwolves are certainly beating them in that department, and it shows on the scoreboard. So yeah, I agree. Good time for a timeout. If they can manage to save this half to be 2-4, it's certainly a salvageable game as they go to defense.
And this is the site they saw success on, so who knows? Fingers crossed for QConfirm and for the potential banger that we had lined up for this match. This is the really the last straw for QConfirm. Heading to their defense, yeah, sure, you'd probably be feeling more comfortable, but 5-1 down, you are not given any chance to make a mistake. You make one mistake and bang, it's map point. That is not where you want to be. So, as we head into the final round of the first half, Will QConfirm see the same success they did in round 3? Or will Direwolves continue what has been an incredible first half?
Feels more likely to be a Direwolves round here, not going to lie. I mean, just based on the form, it feels like if anyone's going to adapt to what happened the previous time in round 3 that this site was played out, I feel like Direwolves are going to do so. But look, we'll wait and see. The other thing I just noticed, you know, like Colas is still on the donut. He is certainly one of the more impactful players for QConfirm. No matter the role he's on, it's usually right up there at the top of the scoreboard with Spacehead, usually has some big games, or Producer Boom. So he's definitely having a quiet one here. And it's not always the biggest indicator, but certainly something, you know. I mean, somebody else on the team has to step up to kind of fill that void.
Yeah, 2 players on the donut, on the bagel is not a great sign. There's no 2 ways to put that. Whereas Direwolves, healthy across the board. You know, Ray's had so many impactful rounds where he's just been able to kind of sit back and wait for the rest of QConfirm, well, the rest of Direwolves to deal with QConfirm. So you can't even blame him there. And as they all sit on that first floor, not even interested in contesting for the roam right now. They might be able to find some vertical lines and put the pressure on Spacehead, but for all intents and purposes right now, it seems pretty... They seem pretty content letting... Oh my god, okay. That was way too close for comfort for Space.
Very, very close, but he is still alive, so he's still making a lot of these vertical holes, but that's going to be a bit of an easy pick there for Direwolves. Now this is where Direwolves need to kind of decide what are they going to do, because last time QConfirm in this position, they got the control and then they kind of just collapsed on top of Direwolves. I think Direwolves need to step up, and there it is. In fact, Jackie Wu is continuously doing it for his team, and here he goes. He's on the run up red.
This is going to be ridiculous. I mean, surely they've got a drone watching him right now. Is he going to the third floor? Come on, Jackie Wu, you can't be doing that in a game like this. Definitely don't want to be giving freebies around to QConfirm. They definitely would have heard the sound cue there. However, knowing where Jackie Wu is, that's the big question. ED can sit back, but Pika has crumbled as well. It's a 3 versus 4, and Direwolves are starting to spread thin across this site. This is possible for QConfirm.
It's going to be big for ED here. If he gets a couple, definitely salvageable. He's going to fall to this nade. Oh my god, he manages to get 2 though. The nade only downs him. This is a 2 versus 2, Manic. It's actually doable.
It certainly is. Ray holding tight, Dark, sticking that diffuser. Souffle, what can you get done? That's perfect timing. It's seconds away, my goodness. That is a little bit uncomfortable for the gentleman on QConfirm, but Direwolves, they're cheering. A 5-1 half is what we end things on.
Really big. The other thing I just thought about, Souffle just hanging out in Bakery this whole time, you know, like that position is not that safe.
No.
I wonder, QConfirm maybe never realized that that's exactly what he's doing and just never droned it. They could have really thought about procedure. You know, they had a lot of map control about minute 20 mark. Then they started to funnel down white. They took VIP, and that was what they did last time. Worked out pretty well. Kind of worked out well this time. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't think about it. Either way, that is a big loss there for QConfirm. Direwolves going up 5-1 is a very big advantage to take into the second half.
It's a very interesting point you bring up because of the fact that Souffle was actually there in the prior round that they had on that basement. God damn it, I just get baited so hard. And the kitchen defense. I do find that incredibly curious that Souffle hasn't been, you know, forced out of position, body checked, anything like that. But regardless, QConfirm, they're not hitting the mark today, but Direwolves are off and running, and there's no stopping them right now. This is probably on par with one of the better performances we've seen from them as of late. And, I mean, what a game to do it. You know, you play day 2, you're feeling confident, you're coming into stage 3, you've still got the opportunity to make the playoffs and to put the pressure on those, let's say, top-heavy teams, which there's no top-heavy teams in APAC South, but it's there for the taking.
Definitely is. And look, we felt like all year Direwolves have kind of just had it in them, but they had some consistency issues, and just general stability issues, but hopefully this is the stage for them. I would love to see them make a bit of a run. We saw them in playoffs in stage 1, and that was definitely the stage that they impressed us all the most. I mean, we really felt like they were going to be a bottom 2 team for the year, and to manage to make that top 4 was a very impressive feat. So look, they're trying to do that repeat here. And to get a massive win against QConfirm early in the stage would be a huge confidence boost.
And it would. Just looking back at the previous times we've seen these two teams play, it's currently 1 apiece for all intents and purposes. So this would be kind of the tiebreaker in the best of 1 regular season anyway for 2021. And Direwolves, well, they're just looking at a different breed. There's very clear evidence right now to prove this. Dark, not at all interested in the barricade, not even slightly, but he is in a position that it has to be contested sooner or later. QConfirm are sitting decently comfortable as that minute 30 starts to tick over.
Yeah, I haven't had a massive amount of pressure come from Direwolves yet, but they are looming, starting to really put that pressure in from red, and now there's a player repelled on that cocktail balcony, starting to put pressure in through bar and the cocktail side in general. Like, Hollis is just trying to go everywhere, but he's getting caught out. Must be some drones catching him, not sure. Beaker putting a lot of pressure on. Now, this is a very pivotal moment. Direwolves really need to make something happen.
Like, Hollis can probably look from that second floor straight through to the cocktail balcony and try to deny Beaker any sort of access. That's exactly what he's doing right now. So, provided he doesn't fall, provided Direwolves don't know he's there, he could be impactful, at least from Beaker's perspective. But the rest of the team, they're not out on cocktail. They are well and truly looking to approach from Cigar. Jackie Wu opening things up. It's a quick trade, but now Jackie Wu's going to try to get the plant down. Beaker goes big. Hajime can't get anything done as he tries to rotate Dark. Can he deny it? No! It is a 1 versus 4 as QConfirm crumble around the puzzle. And Direwolves, they're pretty much set to take map point.
Wow, it would really take a collapse for them to lose this post plant, and they do not. Pika secures it. It is a really strong attack there from Direwolves. Manic, they move forward to 6-1. They are on match point, and this is just an absolutely unreal match. They are dismantling QConfirm.
This is a shellacking. That's the clearest way that I can put it. An absolute shellacking. QConfirm have been mugged in the street right now. Direwolves are running away with all 3 points. And, you know, I find it really interesting. You brought up the stat that the last 2 games that we've seen on Cafe, or at least was it stage 2 you were referencing for the 2 games that we saw of Cafe?
Yes.
Yeah, so we saw 18 rounds in total. That's 9 rounds per game, you know, essentially, if you just cut it in half, which looks at either a 7-2 on both maps, or, you know, maybe a 7-4 and a 7-0. Anything like that essentially is what we're looking at. And now it's following the trend here in stage 3. QConfirm just have no answers.
Yeah, they really don't. And I've just noticed that again, like, Hollis and Hajime is still absolutely missing on the scoreboard. I mean, it's never great to highlight particularly like individual scores, but to see, as you were kind of pointing out, 2 players on 0 kills is never a great sign. Like, there's just some things going seriously wrong with QConfirm tonight, and seriously right with Direwolves. They have really risen to the occasion, and I don't know, like, it really feels like Direwolves are literally a round away from just closing this out, but QConfirm need to dig deep. I could kind of bring this back, but they've got 5 rounds consecutively that they'll need to win to do so.
I was going to say, are we even gonna hint toward that? It just feels like there's no stopping Direwolves at the moment. They're on the hunt. And QConfirm are just bait. That is all they are right now, is free bait. And there is no larger animal waiting on the other side for Direwolves, not yet anyway. So, technically, like Hollis is well and truly 007 right now. So, unlucky Mr. Bond. He's died every single round. That is damning. And Hajime as well, that's not to just isolate one player, but like Hollis, we had mentioned, is one of the standout players for QConfirm stage 1, stage 2. So this is certainly a shock to the system for many of us, but definitely don't want to overshadow what Direwolves are achieving every single player have put in. There's been rounds of brilliance from every single member. And that is ultimately the huge difference maker right now.
Also, just some general issues with QConfirm. You know, sometimes we just see them look absolutely on fire. And I mean, Stage 2 regular season was just that. They were on fire. But then they just collapsed right at the end. Nothing really came of it. And this just seems to happen so often. And there it is again, Hajime. No impact yet again. Ray's found that opening pick. Dark has at least traded it and taken out Jackie Wu at that. I mean, he's been a very influential player for Direwolves this game. But yeah, this has just been a really tough fight for QConfirm.
That it has. And what kind of gas do you have left in the tank after this kind of a performance from Direwolves? Like, what do you have in these final couple of rounds to fight back? I know momentum starts to gain once you start to believe. Once there's 1 or 2 rounds on the board, then you can find the belief. But it's right now, this is really where you... The difference between teams and champion teams, right? The teams that can really start to contest the likes of Elevate. Oh, God, like Colas, that's one way to find your first kill of the game in the 8th round.
That's definitely going to help having Colas on the board, giving him a little bit of confidence. But here we go, Direwolves are going for a bit of a push here up wide. Been heard, though. QC are ready for this. Traded back, but I don't think it's going to be anything that Direwolves can do. Oh, no. ED, maybe on the shoulder here. Might be able to pull this out, Manic.
No! ED! Oh, could this be a huge Kobe? No, he finds one at the very least. He gets the down and the confirm. In a 1v1, he's got the diffuser to pick. He's got 15 seconds. No, you got to press it nowadays, mate. As he makes his way back around into reading. He's got everything he needs here to play for the post plan as well. He can sit back, he can wait for Dark to make the move. Both players have had an incredible impact this game. Dark looking to push this one further, but ED trying to pull out the sidearm to close things out. Oh my goodness, ED pumps him with some bullets, but it's not enough. And Dark is not done in this matchup.
ED going for style when he should have gone for the dub. Pull the L8 out. There's no way that he would have survived that. But anyway, either way, that was just a nuts little comeback there. Actually believed that ED was going to close out the game, but not to be. QConfirm hold on. They can survive another round. They've got 4 more to find before they can push this to overtime.
The thing I'm most devastated about there is the fact that ED is going to be the person that we interview. And that just would, like, we love ED as it is. Absolute legend. But to have closed the game out in a 1v4, I think that was. No, it was a 1v3. Don't get too excited, Rob. That would have been just the elation on his face would have been incredible. But it's not to be, and now we go to what will most likely... I don't want to say be the last round, but just the way that Direwolves have proven to us what they can do. I don't know whether there's much in it for QConfirm. But this is where all the great stories start.
It's definitely true. And look, we haven't seen the kitchen site defended yet by QConfirm. You know, they might be absolutely gods on it. And all of a sudden we're 3-6. And maybe, you know, going another 3 rounds isn't that impossible. But yeah, just in general, you know, based on form, it really feels like Direwolves, it's just a matter of time until they can close this one out. So it's just all about the grit here of QConfirm. Can they really dig deep and push this closer to potentially achieving this overtime?
5 seconds left before insertion.
Oh, that is a very long way away, doesn't it feel like? 4 rounds is what it's going to take for QConfirm. 5 in a row, in fact. Once again, we're going to see the impact of that Valk on the defense. Incredibly crucial in terms of the intel gathering. But I love this, the IQ being brought for a 2nd round in a row. Souffle should be able to deal with any sort of electronics or funky monkeys. And I guess the 2 big ones you're probably looking for there are the Valk cams and the magnets. I like this from Direwolves. Not messing around whatsoever. They're taking bakery control and putting the pressure on QConfirm early.
Yeah, look, really like this from them, honestly. This is very clean, very quick. It is going to put a lot of pressure on QConfirm. Now, you did just see some blue outlines above, so they are going to be able to play the verticals. So it's not just a simple matter of opening this wall and potentially being in the position to push. There may be a way to shut that down from above. But either way, just the pace of this from Direwolves is fantastic.
Exactly what we would expect to see from them. Is that nade going to hit Hajime? It doesn't make a difference because Spacehead has found himself the opening with ED, maybe aggressing a little bit too much into prep without any prior support, or I should say any additional support. But I mean, this is pretty one-dimensional, Raven. They've really tunneled in here.
Yeah, I feel like ED just overextending a little bit there. They could have had an opening. I mean, if you're going to be, like you said, one-dimensional, this linear in this push, you kind of got to do it quick and take deep, because then you start to be a little bit more protected. But it's going to be a bit tricky at this point. Still a lot of time on the board. That was a fantastic pre-fire, but like Cole is standing up strong.
Yeah, interesting from Pika himself. Had 3 flashes in the pocket, decides to go straight through the Aruna gate. Regardless, there's going to be noise. Jackie Wu finds the pixel of Hajime through the threat window, and now it's going to continue to hold strong with Spacehead finding his second in the round. Ray and Souffle. Oh, that's nice. That's actually really gnarly. Wow. Spacehead, just do what you do. Do what you do best. QConfirm. They're not giving up without a fight.
Yeah, Hans, and there it is. They've managed to secure 2 rounds in a row now, and maybe, just maybe, they do have it in the tank to bring this comeback. Bar Cocktail is probably what they're going to have to go. It was unsuccessful back in round 7. Now that's certainly concerning. You know, Bar Cocktail, as you said, at this point should be a fairly comfortable site for the defense. That being said, you know, it's had a few swings in terms of being defender or attacker sided over the past few months. So hard to say what it is this time around, but we're going to get attack out of Direwolves here, Manic.
Yeah, and again, great timing. This stunts the kind of momentum of QConfirm, slows things down a little bit, which I do think will favour Direwolves. You know, it's always easy to keep that momentum up, and it's also easy for teams to roll down that hill quite dramatically. You know, it takes 1 or 2 rounds where maybe a clutch doesn't go your way, maybe there's a mistake, a call wasn't heard, and very quickly you start to find yourself in a tilted position. But this right now, it gives Direwolves the breathing room, it slows QConfirm down, and it just, I think you'll notice the pace of this round will be a lot more relaxed from Direwolves. That, or they're just going to go balls to the wall. It's going to be one or the other. I feel like polar opposites, it has to either be something where they just absolutely blitz onto site, or they're going to take things nice and steady.
I mean, I feel like their attacks have generally been fine, nice and steady. They actually, the start of that kitchen cooking attack was quite nice. They just got a little bit too excited. ED in particular, you know, he was sticking his head firmly out of that prep doorway just a bit too early. Yeah, there just wasn't that cover to at least refrag. And honestly, QConfirm were pretty spread out at that point. They were still very focused on kind of setting up on how to deal with the potential quick attack that was coming out of Direwolves, and there was a window of opportunity there if ED just kind of reined it back in a little bit, but yeah, it kind of slipped away, and that makes me think, you know, they just need to just relax. I think they're attacking fine as it has been the last 3 rounds. I think they just need to do a normal attack, and they could potentially close it out here.
Gotta say, Capital is probably my favorite operator to watch play out in competitive format. Just the fire and smoke that you can bring to every round. You've got the ability to have somewhat of a flank watch with the Claymore, and you can swap out for that hard breach. It's quite versatile and dynamic in how you can play Capital, and I think we've seen it. I'm trying to think back to OCN on Saturday. It was used quite a lot, and it's a very good operator to bring when you want to disrupt the flow of a game. So Direwolves are they're just in that position where, you know, you really just don't want to let this get out of control. You don't want to be sitting here getting into round number 11 and thinking, geez, this is actually possible. Because right now, there is just a whiff. There is a sense in the air that makes you think QConfirm are back on track.
Definitely importantly as well is to think about the fact that 3 points are on the table for them right now. Like, they had a 6-1 lead I mean, you never want to say it like this. I'm just going to say it and be blunt here. That's an easy 3 points on the table. Like, you just need one round. Surely you can get 1 out of 5. If it goes to overtime, I mean, they've got 1 point minimum locked in, but you don't want to lose that opportunity to bank in 3 points, especially in the first couple of play days. It really comes back to help you in the standings towards the end of the stage, and could be make or break. So, yeah, I'm with you. Like, just close it out as soon as you can.
I like this, causing a bit of chaos really early on. Minute 30 is going to allow Direwolves to push in. You can see multiple members now finding either cocktail bar or pushing into cigar balcony. And slowly but surely, QConfirm a crumbling Pika! My God, with a quick double kill. You blink and you would miss it. All 3 points go to Direwolves.
That was just brutal. They just pulled the trigger. I mean, I had only just finished saying you want to end it as soon as you can, thinking about like a macro, but micro, the Direwolves just finished it with about 15 seconds after I finished saying that. Absolutely unreal. Yeah. Just rolled over them at the end of that round. In general, I think it's fair to say Direwolves kind of just rolled over QConfirm that entire match. They were firmly in control.